Hi there, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer based in Helsinki, Finland. I hope your year 2019 has had a good start. Mine started really nicely, even though I broke a coffee pot on the very first day. But that didn't discourage me, because this year is going to be very interesting, and I hope I can soon tell you more details about that. In this video, I'm reviewing this Canon EF-M 11 to 22 mm f4 to 5.6 zoom lens. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel and also click that bell over there so you get a notification every time I publish a new video. This zoom is not a new lens. It was released on the 6th of June 2013, almost exactly a year after the whole M series was released. And even though this is not a new lens, I'm prepared to say this is the best super wide angle lens for your Canon M camera. And I have a couple of solid arguments for that, and I'll get to those in a bit. But let's first have a look at the lens. This is not the first time I'm reviewing this lens. I reviewed this lens first time from my Sulanto blog in 2013 when this lens was brand new. This is a very compact lens, just a tad longer than the kit zoom, but significantly heavier at around 215 grams. But it's still very light and compact for a super wide lens, and it makes a really nice combination with the M50 camera body. And it even fits in a coat pocket if you don't want to carry a separate camera bag with you. Oh, it started snowing a little, so I came under this cover because this lens is not weather sealed. And I really wish Canon made also a weather sealed options for the M series, because sometimes or many times the bad weather is actually good weather for photography. This is a collapsible design that extends about 15 millimeters when unlocked. The exterior is plastic, but it still feels like high quality. There's a minimal free play in the inner barrel that extends, but still the whole thing feels like a quality solid piece of glass. The zoom range covers from 11 to 22 millimeters, and that equals to about 18 to 35 millimeters in full frame terms. And the maximum aperture is f4 to f5.6, which is not exactly fast, but there is an image stabilizer that allows you to use quite long shutter speeds. Canon says the IS offers about 3 stops benefit, and based on my experience, it is at least that. Of course, any IS system depends highly on the steadiness of the photographer's hands. Young people are usually steadier than old people like me. So this is not totally hopeless in dim light, as long as you don't have to freeze any action or your subject is not moving anywhere. The autofocus is virtually silent and really fast. The manual focus lacks proper feedback, but that's the case with almost any autofocus lens today. Besides, there's not much use for the manual focus anyway. The optical performance is great for the most part. The sharpness and contrast are good to very good throughout the whole zoom range. If you really pixel peep, you can see that the corners are quite not as sharp as the center, but the whole frame is very usable. This little lens handles the backlight really nicely, and even if you manage to get some reflections in the picture, the contrast still holds together really well and the whole frame is not contaminated. There are some barrel distortions at the wide end, but they are not exactly bad compared to some other super wide angles. And you can only see them if you have straight lines near the edges of the frame. The distortions disappear when zooming in, and there are no visible distortions at other focal lengths. The worst downside is probably the vignetting, which doesn't bother me so much, but it's just the fact that the vignetting is very high, wide open at 11 millimeters. When you apply the lens profile that gets rid of the vignetting, the whole frame becomes a lot brighter. The other downside is the modest maximum aperture, but the IS and the great optical performance compensate that quite a bit. The price of this lens is around 400 euros, which I think is quite reasonable. After all, the 15 to 45 kit zoom lens is almost the same price if bought separately, and that's not in the same league as this 11 to 22 millimeter. This little lens suits really well for anything you would use a super wide or wide angle lens. However, the modest maximum aperture makes this less suitable for example, astrophotography or anything where you'd have to freeze action in dim light. This is also a great choice for vlogging because of the IS, and the wide angle of view makes this ideal if you're filming yourself with the camera in one hand. This all sounds very good, but why do I think this is the best wide-angle lens for your Canon M series camera? The best is always, of course, highly subjective, but my arguments here are that this is the only native autofocus super wide lens for the M series. And on top of that, this is a great optical performer. There are other super wide angle options for the M series cameras, but they are either manual focus or they need an adapter. But if you don't mind focusing manually, which is not actually that hard with a super wide angle, you may prefer other options. Also, if you don't mind using the EF-M adapter, there are many other autofocus choices also from third-party manufacturers. I hope you found this review useful. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time.